It's a nice and gloomy day to unbox the Addams Family Skullectors. Hello everybody and welcome. Today is an exciting day because my Skullector of the Addams Family, Morticia and Wednesday, finally arrived. This is this is definitely the Skullector that I've been the most excited for. As far as the properties that Monster High has done with the Skullectors, none have been more up my alley than the Addams Family. A lot of them have been up my alley, but Addams Family is like just one of my favorite things ever. Specifically, the show from the 60s is what I enjoy the most. So I do know that these dolls are based on the movie that came out in 2019. It was the animated one with Chloe Grace Moretz as Wednesday. I am glad that they chose to do it based on that movie rather than the Tim Burton's movies. I know that for a lot of people, like the Addams Family movies from the 90s that Tim Burton did are like what they think of when they think of the Addams Family, but I just don't enjoy those movies. Those movies don't have the charm that the Addams Family has in the show that started in 64. So to me, Wednesday Addams is Lisa Loring, which was the woman who played Wednesday back in the show in the 60s. And then Carolyn Jones would be Morticia. Like in my head, that will always be Wednesday and Morticia to me. So ideally, these characters for me would have been based on the 60s TV show, but I think that they're similar enough in style, other than Wednesday is significantly younger in the show than she is portrayed in like most other Addams Family things. But I do feel like these dolls are like, they look like the characters that they're supposed to be without having to specifically be pinpointed as, oh, this is from the 2019 movie. Like, I would look at these and say, okay, that's Wednesday and Morticia, and not like have a specific idea in my head of where they were from. I really like the details that they've given these dolls. Like, I just pointed it out, the flower here. So initially when I had seen the flower, I was like, oh, like, that's cool because Morticia has a conservatory in the show and she is, like, always in there taking care of her plants. And, so she has roses, but her focus isn't on like the rose petal part, it's on the thorns. So she just chops off the tops of the roses and just keeps the stem. And I was like, oh, so it would have been cool, you know, if they were just the stem. And then I saw that like some of the detail that she has is that little pair of scissors that's attached to her so that she can indeed cut off the flower portion, which I just really appreciate, as it's a really nice detail for people who are fans of the Addams Family. I also really appreciate the lace details that they've added to the dress so that it's not just like a simple black piece of fabric. There's some detailing there and texture, which I know that we enjoy as doll collectors. I also really enjoy the bottom portion of the dress. They really nailed this where it sort of trails off into something of like a torn train, which is just classic Morticia. And then her heel is made out of a very thorny rose, which I think is a really nice touch and very in keeping with Morticia's character. I also must point out that there is a face on this rose. So when Morticia is beheading the rose, she's actually decapitating it. It kind of takes it to another level. I know I focused so much of this so far on talking about the Addams Family rather than the dolls, but I figure that you can look at the dolls and decide what you think for yourself without me sort of breaking them down piece by piece, or at least I hope that that's cool. And then you can see, I wanted to just show you the behind view so that you can see just how long her hair is, and it's very soft. And then we have Wednesday, who I really love what they did with her eyes. Like the little spider detail in there is like the glimmer in her eye is really cute. And I forgot to point out that Morticia's are coffins. And the dress itself is really nice. The poofy sleeves reminds me a bit more of the Jenna Ortega Wednesday, but I really like that, like, we still have something of like a colonial type collar and the cuffs. She also has an octopus purse, which I guess is one part that differentiates this as being the 2019 Addams Family versus the 1964 Addams Family, because in 2019, Wednesday has a pet octopus that she calls Socrates, but in the show, it's her brother Pugsy who has a pet octopus, and his name is Aristotle. And this is my favorite part of what they did with Wednesday, is the fact that her heels consist of Cousin It, and he's got his glasses and his hat on, and Thing. And then if you take a look towards like the chunky portion of the shoe, like, you know, the part that you walk on, I don't know if that's what you'd quite call it, because it's kind of like the sole, I don't know, but there are little designs on there. I can't get it to come into focus super well, but there is like a spider web and a snake, so that's just a really cute extra detail that is fun to see. And then I wanted to turn her around so that you can see that she has the same long jet black hair as Morticia does. And then I wanted to show you the bottom of this stand because it is different than usual. So it says 2019 to 2024 MGM trademark T and Charles Addams found, it should say foundation. And I just wanted to point that out because it's different. We haven't been getting anything on the bottom of the stands that, you know, mention the property that the Skullectors are a part of. So I don't know if that's something that is like specific with working with MGM, because I believe this is the first time they've worked with MGM, or if it's like a new thing that we would see with other Skullectors. I guess it doesn't really matter. Unless you bought these secondhand, you would know if you had the original stands. But again, I don't think that that's a big deal, but I still wanted to point it out to you guys because I noticed it and I thought, that's interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think this was more focused on like the Addams Family than it was like on dolls. But I can't help it because I'm very excited because I'm a big Addams Family fan, and this is very cool. This is like the dream to have dolls of these. But anywho, thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed it in some capacity and that I will see you in the next one. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already and you care to. Okay, bye for now.